I am recording live at the Harvard Business School campus today. I am currently enrolled in the school's flagship program called the Owner President's Management Program. And we'll be spending the next 3 weeks here fully immersed in classes, along with 183 other very successful business entrepreneurs and owners from all over the world who comes from all different walks of life and who operates in all different business sectors. My goal is to take the learnings from these 3 weeks that we're here, condense it into a series of 10 podcasts to share the most important knowledge and takeaways with you. Hi, I'm Tulay. Welcome to the Simple Profit Podcast, where we focus on one thing and one thing only, and that is to provide you with insights and strategies on how to build your own $1 million grossing businesses. Give us a follow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform. Before I start on this particular class that I'm just very excited. I just got out of a very awesome class that I was looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint, by the way. Before I jump into that, I want to take you through the general structure of the program here at HBS and what our day looks like. I'm in the OPM 65 cohort, which is made up of 184 owners and presidents of very large businesses from all over the world. They average gross $25 million annually per business, with an average employee count of 200 in their companies. So we live, sleep, eat, study with each other for the whole 3 weeks. They break us up into what they call living groups of 8. So me and 7 others from all over the world, we live right in this building here behind us. You see Tata and MacArthur. These are the buildings that we live in. It's right on campus. Chow is right behind me here, where we have our meals, lunch and dinner. And we wake up at 7 a.m. every day to review the 3 or 4 case studies that we have for that day. And we kind of go into class. Okay, so a month before the program, they give us a package to download of 60 to 70 case studies, each of which are 10 to 30 pages each, which details a specific crisis, a challenge, or an opportunity that a real business or organization is facing, such as IKEA, Starbucks, and the U.S. military. And we have to pretend that we are in the driver's seat of the CEO or the lead of that company, and to come up with a strategy or an execution plan to chart a path forward. And so I just came out of one of my favorite classes so far in this first week. And the case deals with how the communication style could prevent or create problems within an organization. The class was led by Professor Heath Gibson. He's obviously a Harvard Business School professor now, but he was a U.S. Army officer, a helicopter pilot and commander with tours in Afghanistan, Korea, and Germany. The case study that is presented to us was named Friendly Fire, okay? And it involved a tragic incident in 1994 where 2 U.S. Air Force F-15 fighters were patrolling a no-fly zone. And incidentally, there were 2 U.S. Black Hawk helicopters that were carrying members of a specific United Nations peacekeeping corps. They were flying to do a mission, and the F-15s actually shot them down. Okay, so it was a very tragic event that took place. And we, as students in this class, were put into the seat of Brigadier General Jeffrey Pilkington to decipher what happened and to report to the commander-in-chief, which is the president at the time, the American people, and ultimately the world, because this incident affected peacekeeping corps that was not only U.S., but all over the world, right? Europe, Asia, and also Africa. As I was reading and prepping for the case, my initial thought was a situation this serious probably will never happen in my business. And then it suddenly hit me, 100% it can. Could a member in my martial arts class program get hurt, a child specifically, because we deal with children, because of an accident? I mean, we're a physical company. We're teaching them to do kicks, self-defense techniques, etc. Or in worst case, instead of an accident, it's caused by recklessness of our team, a team that I lead. So 100% that possibility was there, and that's why I'm really excited to dive into this case, okay? And so as our class started to take place this morning, 4 things became very clear through our discussion. The first thing was the F-15 pilots, 2 of them, failed to identify the friendly Black Hawk helicopters versus an enemy Soviet Hin helicopter. They both look kind of identical as we went through the case, and especially when the F-15s are flying at Mach 1, right, 1,000 miles per hour plus. And we learned that there were no systems, no training to assist the pilot to tell a friend from a foe. They literally had like cards that They have to pull up as they're flying at 1,000 miles an hour to say, is this a friendly helicopter or not? And as they're flying past them, right? So that was the first thing we identified. This episode is brought to you by MyStudio.io, the customer management and billing software for the modern day business. MyStudio powers thousands of businesses to ensure that a sign up or a sale opportunity is never missed. Customer management and communication is easy and can be fully automated so you can focus on what matters the most. The second thing is there's this friendly identifier code system that every aircraft has. The helicopters that were flying through this no-fly zone had it turned on and that were not recognized by the F-15 fighters because the Air Force F-15s use a different identifier system and code for friendly aircrafts compared to U.S. Army helicopters. So imagine that. If I'm an Air Force fighter and I'm flying around, I can easily identify which other Air Force airplanes or helicopters were friendly. But if you were Army or Marines or Navy, I can't tell if you're a friend or a foe. And third, there were no way for communications to happen between the two Army helicopters and the two F-15 pilots. Everything had to be routed to a control center, a high AWAC, which is a control airplane that flew really high, and people were sitting in a small cockpit to deliver the news as the middleman or the middle woman to each aircraft, right? So they would have to communicate to this AWAC, and that AWAC would then communicate down to the helicopter or vice versa to the F-15. Obviously, a lot of people operating there. So in short, as I wrap this up, the system that was set up for our military branches at that time deliberately did not allow for communications from different branches of the military. So that was the first thing. In this particular case, the F-15s were not under fire. There were no immediate danger to them. The two helicopters that were flying were way below them and had no way of even attacking them, but the pilots fired it anyways. So the expectations from the pilots on when to engage different very much from the expectations from the central control place, and was very different from what the brigadier general thought his understanding was when his commanders underneath him were training the team. So some takeaways that we jot down and learnings. I have my case study review here. Look at the chain of command we had to look at. If you're listening on Spotify, jump over on YouTube, you can see this. This is a picture of a Black Hawk helicopter compared to a Soviet Hind, which is an enemy. They look very similar, right? So how do you decipher when you are flying at Mach 1? So what were our takeaways? The first thing is as leaders in our organization, we need to clearly communicate our wants and our expectations to our team. We can't assume that they know what we want, right? We have to communicate that and make it very clear. For example, at Encourage, when leading classes or physical activities at the Encourage studios, our expectations are very clear. And we train this, every single instructor's training, we start with this. We make sure that it's safe, okay? The first thing is it's gotta be safe. Second is fun, okay? And third is it's relevant to our members. So if any drill or any game or any physical practice or sparring technique that we're gonna engage in, we have to follow and meet all three of those criteria. Now, I don't spell it out for my instructors where they have to go to leadership to say, hey, is this drill safe? Can I execute this drill, right? No, we give them the training, that's the expectations, and we let them decide, right? We empower them to make sure that, hey, you know what safety means, okay? No one's gonna get hurt from this, right? Mentally or physically. You know if it's fun. Are the kids smiling? Are they having fun when they're doing this drill? Or are they sitting there bored and not engaged? And third, is it relevant? Is it a technique that is going to improve their martial arts skills, right, in some way? Is it a game activity that is going to increase socialization and friendship within our studio? Or is it going to not be that? So we leave that up to our team and we continue to teach them on how to do that, right? But the what is very specific. Make sure it's safe, make sure it's fun, make sure it's relevant to what we're doing. This is what I mean by making sure expectations is clearly communicated and we give that to our team, okay? So make sure you have that. And I think these three things can go across all of your studios, whether you teach karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, dance, gymnastics, whatever. Second takeaway for us was make sure that we provide clear communication protocols. Are we, as leaders, communicating only to our lieutenants or our right hand, whoever our main instructors and team are, or are we communicating to everybody? I find myself at my studio lacking in this sometimes, all right? My immediate leadership team that report to me, the 6 of them, know everything that's happening. But the rest of the 60 employees we have at my studio have communicated up that they feel like they're in the dark, right? So I assume that my 6 or 7 leaders that meet with me almost every day are kind of passing on the information from me on. It's not really happening because they don't have the time for that. So what I've done to fix that is actually to provide a weekly recap to tell the whole team member at my studio what's happening, right? So we want to make sure that we have communication protocol, that any changes or any updates to our business, such as, closing and upcoming holidays, or we're changing the way we're doing this technique, or we're changing the way we're doing belt promotions, etc., is communicated to everybody, to your interns, to your part-time staff, to your full-time staff, to your main instructors, and your managers. All right. And the last thing is ensure that processes are in place for the core activities in your business and in my business. What I mean by core activities, if you're running a martial arts studios, our core activities is to provide martial art instructions. Are each class laid out, planned to what people should be doing, what they should be teaching in that class, and what drills they're running that week, right? So if you have processes to train your team on that every week, right? To you, it may seem monotonous, it may seem boring. It's not. Your team members are not thinking as much into the business as you are. Trust me, they got other life they have to deal with, right? As business owners, you have a bunch of things that we have to focus on. Team members, as you grow, team members become more and more average, which means they need processes to take the average team member to give and provide excellent performance, right? And what that is a clear written out processes and training that takes place continually so that people know what's going on. And there's no second guessing for our team when it comes to execution. And last thing is, remember, leadership starts with us. We accepted this role to be a leader in our organization, in your business. And for most of us, we want this role, right? We asked for this role. And the rule of this role is very simple. When things go right, the credit needs to go to our team. We highlight them. We tell them they're doing a great job. Give them a high five. Okay, all of that. When things go wrong, it is the leader's responsibility, our responsibility to own it and to fix it. All right? If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend or with your team. Check out mystudio.io for the leading management and building platform for your business. And stay tuned for the next episode, as I'm going to be recording live from HBS here to share the next great class that I have with you that I think you're going to benefit and take away from, like this one. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.